Welcome back to The Fans Have Spoken. I'm joined with Kylie, Kevin, and Robbie. We had a 2-for-1 special with last episode, Nasir and Evie. How are you guys doing tonight? How'd you like the episode?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the episode. There's very few episodes of Survivor I don't like, though, to be fair. But I feel like it was some good gameplay, man. I feel some good gameplay with what you can do in 17 days, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what? We got a lot of energy and a lot of reaction and a lot of debate or whatever confrontation from the tribal that happened before that. You had Heather coming back and having her spiel with Nasir. You had Shan and Deshawn going at it like right off the bat of the episode. And I love it when an episode starts and we don't get the intro. All we get is the 41 and right into the reaction. So if when the day comes that we binge watch these, it's going to be rolling right from tribal into camp life without any garbage in between. It's going to be awesome. So I love the way that they're editing these episodes.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because whenever you watch it, like, you know, in replay, it is going to go really well. But like, you know, last night I was like, oh, okay, it's on. And I pressed like, you know, pause for a minute and then I pressed play and I was like, oh shit, I skipped the first minute. I have to go back. And so, you know, like you can't miss any.
Yeah, what I would like them to do is do the long intro where it shows them doing the challenges, put it on YouTube. That way I can watch that before the episode, then tune on at 8 and jump right in it.
Just for nostalgia.
We're keeping the 1, dropping the 4. It's starting all over, baby. No more intro video. Get used to it. That's where we're at.
If they can keep editing on this level, I'm down for anything. One thing I did want to bring up from the episode that I really liked, because I didn't get to do the recap episode with you guys last night, was how they edited it. We got to see how it would be for someone that is hearing impaired, how they did that with the volumes and stuff. I love that because it put things into perspective a little bit for someone that I can hear out of both ears. So.
Yeah, I agree. That was really, really cleverly done. And, you know, hopefully, you know, it does give us an insight into what Ricard is feeling. And, you know, to sit there and have these conversations going around you, like, you know, my dad is also deaf in one ear and, you know, he gets very overwhelmed. Like if the TV's on and there's conversations going, like he can't, you know, differentiate between them all. And so I can only imagine in a game where it's so important to be able to, you know, hear whispers or try to listen to what other people are saying, you know, that he is at a disadvantage. And so I like that too.
Well, and it's interesting too. I don't know if we ever mentioned this, in this group or not, but my mother, for many years was an interpreter for the deaf and the hard of hearing and, you know, the whole ASL sign language and all that good stuff. And so was my sister. They worked in the school systems and we had kids coming into the house for a large portion of my childhood, you know, learning how to sign and whatnot. And a big portion of communication when it comes to people hard of hear or people who are hard of hearing is the body language portion of it. And you read people's body language to see what their intent is, and you get the message through body language almost as much as you do through sign language or through reading the lips. But it also works in both directions where you become more expressive, right? To use that body language in the other direction. So I'm curious, it'd be nice to hear after the show how Ricard's using the body language, but is he also catching himself by not giving away too much with his own? Because do you know what I mean?
He's like pretty emotive. He's pretty emotive.
Yeah, we've seen that,
like,
right?
Think about when he like is talking to Shan and like how Shan doesn't want to do stuff that he wants to do. He's like, oh, like his face is like he makes the, oh, okay, and you're like, okay. He's emoting all the time.
Yeah, nobody gives as much away as Deshawn does with Deshawn's looks, where he's just like straight up will look away from somebody, like, do you get this? Are you hearing this guy? And then he'll.
But I don't know that Deshawn is giving things away because there's nothing Deshawn's doing that's hidden. He doesn't. I don't. There's not like he's in the majority alliance. He's in control for the most part. At least his group is. They may not be in control individually, so there's nothing to hide.
No,
at the moment.
His reactions and his.
He reacts. Yeah. He reacts. My guy reacts.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, and I think the short season, the lack of food, the back-to-back challenges and stuff, days-wise, I think that is why a lot of these people can't hold that stuff in, can't keep that mask on because they're not performing at 100%. But fair. Jeff promised that we'd have smaller tribes this season. We're at the merge, and he throws us a little twist where we're going to have 2 tribals, 2 groups of 5. So it's going to be another small tribal council. You know, it's 1 in 5 chances of going home. That's going to make you sweat a little bit more. And in the first group, we have Nasir, Ricard, Erica, Heather, and Shan. So, what were you guys thinking when you saw this group of people? Where did you think it was going to go?
I mean, obviously, I'm worried from a girl. Like, worried for Shan here because this would have been a great opportunity for the 3 people perceivably on the bottom. You know, and we had this where Erica had talked with Xander about these bottom people like teaming together, and this was a great opportunity, and they missed it a little bit. I mean, yes, you got.
I disagree.
You got somebody out with an idol, but you know, Shan is the ringleader, and for Heather and Erica and Nasir, I feel like it's a missed opportunity.
So the reason I disagree is because Heather and Nasir were never going to work together. They were never going to work together because Heather tried to throw Nasir under the bus and then tried to lie about throwing Nasir under the bus and then was willing to throw Nasir under the bus again. I was when they split into the groups, I never feared for Shan's life. I did fear for Erica's life and Heather's life. But I never feared because I never thought that Nasir and Heather were going to be on the same page. It just wasn't going to happen.
I initially, like, as soon as Ricard went up and was like talking to Heather and Erica and was like, hey, you know, Heather, you've got to sell this, but it's going to be Nasir. I was like, please take this information. And I am completely on the Shan bandwagon. And I was like, please take this information to Nasir and flip this vote on either Shan or Ricard, either one of them. Like, please.
Oh, that's what you were
worried that was going to happen. That's what I was worried about. I was so happy it didn't. I was sweating.
Yes, missed opportunity.
Interesting. I felt like the first tribal was much more obvious and straightforward about what was going to happen once Nasir's name went out there, because I felt like Erica and Heather were just trying to figure a way to. I mean, Erica, the moment she was safe in the challenge, she dropped. I partially think she dropped so that way they couldn't get food, but that's just on me. It looked
like it. 100%. In the challenge,
Jeff is like, stay in this thing, and you can. And then she just dropped, and she was like, get this.
She's like, fuck that. No, when she was in it against Nasir, and
Shan is cheering. Let's go, Nasir. Let's do it, Nasir.
Yeah. What obviously Erica's gonna be pissed, but what I was scared about was I was more scared that it was either gonna be Nasir or Ricard going into that. And I know we didn't get a lot of hints that it would be Ricard, and that's kind of why I was scared, because of the fact that there's no reason to get rid of Heather. There's no reason right now.
Correct.
Because of the fact that, she's got a relationship with Erica. That's great. But do you think Erica has enough power to utilize that relationship right now? I don't think so. Maybe in the future, right? If Erica keeps busting out these immunities, maybe she'll have more power, right? Because she's safe and she can get creative with the vote. But I was like, okay, you're going to get rid of either the challenge beast of the season in Nasir, completely underrated in a lot of ways. They were trying to throw challenges on Luvu, and Nasir was single-handedly winning, right? And who was he beating repeatedly? Shan and Ricard. They were the victims of Nasir's beast mode in the challenges, so they know that he's a threat. So I knew that they would be kind of leaning towards that. Why get rid of Heather, right? I mean, we had a whole episode of them cheering for Heather failing, like that. Like they know that Heather's not going to win a lot of challenges. So
correct.
That's what I was worried about. I'm glad Ricard didn't go, but it was really, really sad to see the target kind of shift towards Nasir.
Yeah, I'm glad Ricard felt strongly enough about this move to actually hold his ground with his number 1, because she gets her way a lot. When
she doesn't, though.
You don't think
she tries to? She tries to, and that's so. I am a big Shan stan, but her gameplay is messy as fuck. It is so messy because Shan, I respect it because I understand that she's trying to create a narrative to win the game, but she is too heavy-handed, and I'm sure Robbie agrees with this.
I agree, but I think a lot of that is because of how Ricard is interacting with her. Like I look at it like,
well, it's not just Ricard.
I'll let you finish, but yeah, I have a point on that one.
Yeah, because it's Ricard, because she's heavy-handed with Ricard. She's heavy-handed with Deshaun. She's heavy-handed with Danny. Like it's it's hard because it's not just like a her way or the highway type situation. It's a her way is right, and I don't really want to hear anything else. And that's hard because at the end of the day, you need to be at the end. Full stop. You just need to be at the end. Full stop. Yeah. They don't have to go out the way you want them to go out. But she is trying to push the thing through a pinhole every single time. And that's the hard part, and that's where the bad gameplay comes into play, is because it doesn't have to be your way every time, and she tries to. So what you're saying, Frank, is that she feels like she's getting her way, but it's not. She just complains a lot, trying to get her way. And then she gets mad when it doesn't happen.
Well, and I mean, 2 weeks ago, we saw her really want to go for Xander, and, she doesn't get Xander out. This week, she really wants to go for Erica. And then by way of Erica, let's go for Heather. She doesn't get her way. So, yes, she is.
Even before that, when Tiffany went home, she wanted to flip it on to Heather.
Right, exactly.
And she didn't get her way.
The JD votes.
I think
a lot of votes early in UA were like that.
We had a confessional from Nasir where he was saying, Ricard and Shan are my closest allies. And so we have this comment from Sci-Fi. Voting out Nasir was a big move, not a smart one for Shan, because he was loyal to her in a meat shield. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that it was smart for Shan personally to vote out Nasir?
No.
For Shan,
she didn't have a choice.
No.
Ricard forced her hand.
Yeah.
Ricard forced her hand.
Yeah, I just want to throw something out here though too. Is a lot of it's about the perception that we're getting from Shan and Kyla. You brought it up in the recap that we did last night of the episode. The broad aspects of the episode was the fact that I think there's two angles to this. I think the way that Deshaun is being offended by Shan is more of a building a personal target for the long game. It's not about strategic or anything like that. It's strictly saying to people, look, as a human being, Shan doesn't listen to me. And that is something that everybody can relate on a human level. And that will build a target long-term, long game. But when it comes to the Ricard debates and arguments and things like that, I think that maybe not 100% of it, but a lot of it might be the thing we've talked about a lot, which is gender, where I think if Boston Rob had handed somebody extra vote, or if Boston Rob had been holding on to an extra vote and somebody came up and said, well, give it to me and I'll use it. And he laughed at their face and said, no fucking way. I'm using this myself. Are you crazy? He would laugh and we would laugh with him. But Shan's like, no, I want to use it. And Ricard's like, no, I need to use it. And it's almost like she's not being agreeable. Yeah. And that's from a strategic perspective. And whenever she's not being agreeable to Ricard, it's almost like she's getting a difficult edit. Right. Which I think I want to separate the two things. I think she is making mistakes on a strategic level when it comes to Deshaun, not treating him, not listening or whatever, whether that's real or not. If he doesn't feel listened to, you gotta roll with it. But I think the edit that we're getting on Shan, if it was somebody else making the moves that she's doing, then and standing up for what she wants to have happen and push it more, I think it would just look like an aggressive player, but not somebody who's not being agreeable or whatnot. And I don't know if it's that stereotype that we're seeing where if it's gender based, but I always try to check my bias at the door, and this is kind of a red flag going off where she seems to be having a lot of success and yet not necessarily getting the credit for it. You know what I mean? So yeah. maybe I've got a bias there, and I'm trying to see if that's the case.
For me, I see her as a really gifted point guard. She just needs to start passing the ball more. She's been trying to run isolation plays over and over and over. It was successful for a while, but the defense is catching on to how she operates. So she needs to just change how she plays the game. She needs to let her hand off the wheel. You can't hold the wheel the whole time in Survivor and expect to make it to the end. You got to let someone else drive.
But a guy like Tony, a guy like Rob, they go at it nonstop, and they keep trying. No. They keep trying.
No, because they're not a sport.
And if you get in their way, they go. You leave.
We don't get to see. So the difference is, and this is where the bias is, that think about Tony's game. Think about Boston Rob's game.
Yeah.
You don't see them shutting down people the way Shan is shutting down the people.
Boston Rob made people team up. It made the buddy system.
Correct. In Redemption Island, he made the buddy system, and they were willing participants. Yeah. That's the difference.
He let Philip talk.
But
yes,
he would sit there and listen.
I agree with that, though. I agree with that. That's a different. Yeah, I think they're two different.
And he might have shut them down, and they just didn't air it. But they're showing Shan warts and all. They're showing her shut down when they're like, let's talk about doing Nasir. Last episode.
Yeah.
They're and then you're watching her say, no, let's not do that. You didn't see Boston Rob ever do that. They would show him on the show taking it in and then just not going with it. Whereas we're watching Shan.
Yeah, to an extent. But there were episodes where he bullied people, though. There were episodes where he called people.
Oh, I didn't say he wasn't a bully.
And no, I'm not saying that he was a bully. I'm saying that in the scenario, he bullied people to do what he wanted. He called them out on their shit in front of them, told them that they were making mistakes, made fun of their gameplay, saying, "Are you really telling me that you're?" He did that similar to how people are doing it on this season, right? But I don't know. Proves the reverse.
But I mean, we've seen other players be way more aggressive than Shan, way more bossy, and not get the crap back. I'm not even talking about the edit. I'm talking about the backlash from the community that Shan is getting.
Oh, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the community. I don't care about.
But I mean, just like going back to what Robbie is kind of hinting at, like with the gender. Like if Shan were a different gender, then she probably would not be labeled as being so overbearing or
She would by me. Like because for me it had nothing to do with her gender. For me it's because you have a player like Deshaun and you have a player like Ricard, those two specifically. If Deshaun and Ricard were like Danny, then I wouldn't be saying she's steamrolling them, right? Because they are more agreeable in terms of Danny. Danny is a more agreeable. He like makes a face, but he says, "All right, Shan," and then he goes with what he was
good at faking it.
About.
He's good at faking.
Yes. Whereas Deshaun and Ricard are like, "Excuse me, ma'am." Like, what are you? And that's the difference. And that's the difference. Correct. And that's the difference with you were mentioning with Rob and Redemption Island is that they agreed to the buddy system, whereas in 40. He tried to have them said they can't leave without him being there, and they were like, okay, and then let's vote him out. Like that was the decision in 40.
In 40, though, he knew he was going, and that was all for TV. I think. I don't know. I think he was screwed anyway. But you're right. I mean that happened.
But that's so for me, Shan's gender does not have anything to do with my opinion. It has everything to do with the people that she's playing with, and the fact that Ricard and Deshaun specifically, those two specifically, are pushing back on her like you can't just steamroll like Ricard earlier in the season when she's like give me back the vote before we vote. He's like, I don't think so, man. Why would you keep me then? And she's like, this is unfair. And it's like, you're not listening to his point of view. Same thing with the Deshaun and the Danny thing. They both brought up Nasir, but only Deshaun was the one that got mad about her not listening to getting out Nasir the vote before.
And that brings up a good point. Long term, do you think Nasir would be better for Shan's game than Ricard if let's say Shan took this opportunity now to take somebody who was more willing to not scream at her face and kind of push her around as a Ricard would be, also not viewed as a partner that she's been working with since the original Tribes. Do you think that Nasir might have been the better option if she could have got him to be loyal till the end versus a Ricard kind of?
For her to have tried to flip the vote on Ricard?
Yeah, because I think she could have easily gone in Nasir and said, listen, Ricard's coming after you. They're all lying. Let's take him out. I've got the vote. I've got the extra vote. Nasir's a ride or die dude. Like, if he gives you his word, I think it's as good as gold. Like, so if Nasir would have said, I am with you, Shan. We will ride this to the end. I mean, I don't think it would have been a terrible decision. Do I think that Nasir brings the strategy that Ricard does? No, but does Nasir bring a huge shield? Because there's, just like Xander has the potential to go on an immunity run, I think Nasir does too. I mean, listening to his exit interviews today, like
he was prepared. He had been practicing a lot of these competitions, and he said if he would have got to Final Four fire making, that he could have started it by looking at it.
Correct. Correct.
I think her best move would have been to play along with Ricard, use the extra vote, but just go nudge Nasir and be like, I can't tell you much, but you need to play the idol. So then she still has Ricard, she has Nasir with a Wookiee life debt, and then Heather goes home.
Yeah, I like that. She could have wasted her extra vote. No big deal.
But then you've got Ricard in the game still.
Correct. Let's play it out.
Ricard. I know I'm not trying to bash Ricard here as if he's being overbearing. That just shows how much control he has. That he's obviously worse for Shan's game, but he's doing so well at building that relationship and being necessary for her, in her opinion, right now, that Shan didn't think of doing it that way.
I don't think that makes Ricard great though.
I don't think it makes him.
Ricard's bad for her game. I think Nasir's better for her game. I just want to make that clear. I think they're both good for her game.
I think the fear that I have is that they mentioned, and this might be the first taste of what we get coming up, is they mentioned pairs this episode where they said, okay, Heather's working with Erica, right? People are thinking of that now. And that's got to be a theme that's going to carry on. We're down to 8, right? You've got Deshawn and Danny. You've got Ricard and Shan, and you've got Erica and Heather. And it would be mighty nice to not be one of those pairs right now when everyone's going to be concerned about pairs. And if Ricard would have went home, then Shan wouldn't have had that pair. Do you know what I mean? So I think pairs and duos are going to be a threat. They're going to be looking for the swing votes to get the other ones out.
Because then her pair is Liana. Shan's got 2 pairs.
Even worse then.
Right? That's why I think even with her missteps of composure, I think she's still solid. I think she's playing fantastic.
Oh, I think she's playing a great game. I think it's messy. I think she's playing a fantastic game. I think it's messy.
I love her.
And I think it's not like if you were to be ranking her on a list of players, I don't think she's an S tier player. I think she's a B at this point. I had her at an A earlier in the season, but watching, I think it's because she's deprived of food. I think a lot of it has to do with her being deprived of food and the game being so fast. I mean, the Tiffany vote was day 16. This vote was day 17, right? Everything's moving so quickly. And I think Shan hasn't had a moment to collect herself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to see is the biggest impact of the shortened season. Isn't just that it's going faster, but the difference in mental aptitude and physical ability of the people who are fortunate to win the first few challenges. Deshawn and Danny and a few other folks have had really to play the game for 4 days, 3 days, 4 days at this point. And Shan's been playing this whole time. She's been starving. She's burnt out. Shan is on day 17 and the others are on day 4. Now, if you were to put Shan back on day 4 and think of how she was acting, how her strategizing was nice and smooth, nice and methodical, that's kind of where Deshawn and them are now. Yeah, they haven't had much food, but they haven't had to worry except for 4 days.
To your point, Robbie, the Brad vote was day 7. And she was real composed there, right? And that was day 7. You're right. We're which is also crazy that we're 10 days from the Brad vote, which felt like so long ago. She is 10 days from that vote.
Yes.
She's 8 days from the JD vote. It's moving at lightning speed, and she's had to play, like you said, for.
I think day 7 Shan or day 6 Shan might have thought about the Nasir versus Ricard difference, but that's where the 39-day season helps because it would drag on long enough that now Deshawn and Danny and the rest of them are all tired and hungry too.
Speaking of hungry,
already towards the end now.
Speaking of hungry, the reason she didn't want to get rid of Nasir was because he's one of the few that can feed her because she hasn't been eating.
So I'm talking about Deshawn and Shan and
no. I think we're because so bringing it back to Nasir, that's one of the reasons she didn't want to get rid of Nasir, and I think you're right. Well, I think the papaya, yeah, and I think that if you're right, that if she thought about it, she would realize that Nasir would have been better for her game to keep around.
Yep.
But Ricard is super sharp, and I'll give him that. And he was able to, because both Erica and Heather were just looking for a life vest, right? Any way to keep Heather here, and they provided a way.
Yeah, but your final 8. Do you want sharp or do you want loyal? Right? And there's an argument for both. But who's more likely to kill your game? And
I think
I'd pick
Ricard is
Nasir
more
right
likely to kill her game because I think there's a good chance that after this, Ricard he's going to have a connection to Heather and Erica. So why not use them if you can pull Xander? I think we might have Ricard coming at Shan's ride or dies.
Well, what we've seen all season is Ricard's been doing that.
Of her.
Yeah, like Ricard picked off JD. Ricard made sure that all of the people who could get close to Shan disappear. Right, Nasir gets really close to them. He disappears next. Who's next? Liana, right, is really close. Like, there's people that, yeah.
Why do you? My position, you got to go.
How do you, Frank? How do you feel though that Heather is going to turn on Danny and Deshawn?
I think she will do whatever she needs to do to get farther in the game, and I think Ricard's good enough to sell a narrative. I think that's what makes him dangerous, is because he knows how to sell the narrative to get the outcome.
I think you're giving Heather far too much credit. I think she's a loyal type player like Jeannie, and she is going to be loyal to Deshawn and Danny. She's appreciative.
No,
she's appreciative of Ricard. I think she's appreciative of Ricard, but I think that you can get her on board with getting out Shan. I think you can get her on board with getting out Liana or Xander, but I don't think you could just get her on board with going after Danny or Deshawn.
I think you're right.
I think what Erica wants.
Yeah, but as I'm saying, you're shooting the right kind of ammo, but at the wrong target. I think she is loyal, and that's what her fault is almost going to be. I don't think she's going to be the most strategic, but I think if Erica moves, because Erica might be going after Danny and Deshawn, seeing them as the threats. I
don't think she does either, though.
But Erica might go with the underdogs as her best chance of winning in the end, right?
Yeah.
I don't think
I can see that.
Beat Deshawn, right? So if Erica goes that way, and if Erica pitches to Heather, listen, we're not going to get votes in the end if we go with them. Our only chance is to come with me with the underdogs. I could see Heather being like, okay.
I feel that, but I feel like Erica would want to shoot at Shan before Danny and Deshawn.
Fair, but Shan just saved her too.
Yeah,
right?
She might, but if Ricard can sell the narrative that these are the people that need to go because they're going to win, I think Ricard can tell Erica, hey, I can convince Shan to vote.
I think you're giving Ricard too much credit.
I have been the whole
loyalty.
Season, loyalty.
Right. Well, I think you're underselling loyalty, and loyalty by people who live and die by loyalty. And I feel like Heather is very similar to Jeannie and is a person that lives and dies by loyalty.
But I mean, ultimately, what have Danny and Deshawn done for Heather? Like, they haven't had to really put it into play.
What do you mean?
Just saw Ricard do it.
Heather knows that her name was coming up by Shan, and Deshawn did not do it, and Tiffany went home. She knows that happened. She also knows that for the first 14 days, it was her and those two dudes. For 2 weeks, she's been with those guys. For 3 days, she's been with Ricard. I don't think that she is just going to throw away those 14 days because Ricard tricked Nasir, who she wanted out anyway. That's what.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, let me just finishing up. I think that you're undersell. Like, I'm a loyal person in games to the people I'm with, but I'm also a strategic guy. The three of you are the same, but I don't get that vibe from Heather. I think she's very similar to Jeannie, who chooses loyalty overall, and those 14 days are going to definitely trump the 3 with Ricard, even with this vote.
But Erica's there too, right? And that's the only caveat.
Yeah.
That's the only caveat to all of that. Is I don't want to undercut Erica's Erica's strength. Like Erica's not getting a lot of screen time in the beginning of the season.
I think she's good. I think she's good.
She's getting more. And the one thing that kind of gave me a taste, I always look for like the little hints that we get, is that one episode that we got before Erica started getting screwed by the rock draws, where Erica said, "You know what? I want to get prepared to make a move. I want." She's on the boat trying to make a move. She's talking in the woods to Deshaun trying to make a move, and she has it in her where she's a super fan who wants to do the right thing. She knows she can picture herself watching the show saying, "Now's the time to make a move." I can see Erica being somebody who actually tries to do something. Where I see Shan trying to survive a little bit more and using Ricard's guidance, I could see Erica saying, "You know what? I'm not going to win against them. I'm going to think long term. I got to make a move." And I think Heather will respect that. I think she'll be loyal to that. But it'll really come down to who does Heather pick, right? Deshaun and Danny or Erica, I think.
Well, let's take it back to Nasir before we move on to the other group. What did you love about Nasir this season? What opportunity do you think he missed out on to make it a little deeper? What should he have changed with his game?
I think I loved Nasir from the beginning. In terms of his just a wide-eyed, happy to be here type situation, but like not like in a goofy way, but like I get to play Survivor, the game that I learned how to speak English watching. Jeff has been like one of my biggest English mentors. I'm happy to hear to play the game, and I feel like he feels like he had an authentic Survivor experience through and through, including the blind side, and I enjoyed myself. I liked how he tried to rat on Danny and Deshaun in the beginning. I like that on his tribe that he never gave up, even when they tried to throw the thing. My favorite Nasir moment was definitely watching Danny and Deshaun narrate the ways they tried to throw the challenge, and then watching oblivious Nasir just doing everything. Deshaun's saying, "I'm retying knots," and then Nasir comes over and says, "Oh, let me help you. Untie." It was great.
Nasir is just like a good, wholesome, enjoyable to watch, easy to root for, the type of person that you want to see succeed in life in general, but also in the game of Survivor. And, maybe I think that he's a shoo-in to come back and play again.
Yep.
And maybe this is a good experience for him. Like, okay, he got to find an idol. He got to, be the champion in an immunity challenge.
One individual immunity.
And, hopefully he takes this as, okay, this was a learning lesson.
Check.
And I'm going to come back next time and I'm going to be strategic. Very strategic. So that's my hope for him.
I agree. And as somebody who's dreaming of someday, winning the lotto of being on this show, I get frustrated when I see people who get cast who are almost like, of course I got cast, I'm me. And you take it for granted. It's almost like you're entitled just because you are who you are. You got on and you go on with your life if you win or lose or whatever.
Name Robbie.
Right. Yeah. That's yes. But then you've got people like Nasir, obviously, who dreamt of this and soaked it in for what it was and said, "I don't need grilled cheese sandwiches. I can get grilled cheese sandwiches when I'm home." Like, looked for the idol, found the idol, won challenges, did everything that he could. And I think just his whole energy of being somebody who loves what Survivor represents and showed up to play, and he did it. He didn't throw away idols when he shouldn't have. He felt safe and didn't use it. I would have loved to have seen him use his shot in the dark tonight. And if it worked, that would have been hilarious. And if it didn't, it should have been a tie vote anyway, and he still should have been safe. It would have been kind of like a funny little twist. But if he felt in danger, then why use it at all? But I just want to see people. I just want to see people use it more. So I'm throwing that out there. But that's really all it is. We're not getting much action with that shot in the dark. But no, I loved everything this year did. I don't think he could have done much better with the personality he has. I think he was himself. I think he kicked ass, and I think he just got screwed by going to a 5-person tribal when one was immune.
I don't know that he got screwed, but I'm happy that his tribe won so much, because he would have gone home we would have had a lot less this year.
Yes, episode 1.
Yeah.
This year surprised me a lot. I thought he was going to make way more missteps than he did. He actually played pretty smart. I agree. I think he's a character that you just have to root for. You love him. Most of the characters that we get are like the kind of characters like a coach where you like to root against them, or Philip Shepard, where they're just such a train wreck you have to watch. But Nasir was like a character that's just genuine, and like if there was ever someone built for a hero's tribe, I feel like it's him. My favorite moment of his was when he was as confused as a goat on AstroTurf. I thought that was a hilarious moment. He had so many great moments, like you guys all were talking about. I think the opportunity that he had that he missed was just playing the idol. Going home with the idol sucks, but at least now his daughter can go hide that one in the backyard for him.
He didn't get to take it home.
Yeah.
What? He didn't get to take it home?
He didn't get it.
What?
Oh, I wonder if they re-hit it then, and I wonder if we're gonna get it in the next episode.
He kind of referenced like Ghost Island, like maybe this is going to be an idol that comes back, in 20 seasons and haunts them.
Oh, Ghost Island 2.
I
mean, I'll watch it.
We're gonna squash that idea, Jeff.
Oh, I like Ghost
You
Island.
voted out with an idol. Now we know. As soon as you get to Ponderosa, hide it somewhere. Come back on vacation, pick it up before Jeff can take it from you. All right, let's move on to the next group. We've got to talk about Nasir. But the next group we had was Danny, Deshaun, Liana, Xander, and Evie. What did you guys think was going to happen when you saw this group? As soon as Xander won that immunity, I thought I knew exactly how it was going to play out, but then it went a different direction. What were your
Wait,
thoughts?
what? You did? Wait. Say that again. Say that sentence again.
I did not think that it would play out the way it did when Xander won immunity.
I thought that's exactly how it played.
That's exactly how it was going to play out. That's why I had to say that sentence again.
Like
I thought he would-
when you see these 5 together and Xander wins immunity, like I was as confident as Danny landing
good.
shelter. Like,
Yeah, I was.
it's that
Yeah, I was as safe as a goat on grass. I knew exactly what was going to happen. Frank, this is your turn. Explain how you were confused.
I thought for sure that he would use his idol, play it on Evie, and take out somebody from the majority. I thought for sure.
I would have
then he's not
disagreed
safe.
with you, Frank. I would have disagreed with you, except for the fact that he got to walk in to Tribal and see Nasir sitting there. And in his head, you got to start doing numbers and realize, wow, Luvu's down to 4. If I pull out all the stops right now, they're down to 3. Everything's broken wide open at that point. If he uses his idol to save Evie and one of the old Luvu go home, they've got 3 people left. Right,
I mean,
so
he was sitting on the
I was
beach
surprised
when
when he
bunch of
saw
them just
that.
walked off without him and it was him and Erica on the beach.
Yeah.
They just had a team meeting right there within spitting distance. It's like if it's me and I'm Xander and I think I'm clearly on the bottom, I'm gonna take as many shots at the majority and try to rally up.
But let's play this out. You're Xander, right? You come into the merge and Liana tries to take your idol. You then have your next closest ally in Tiffany go home in a pretty easily split vote. You know that they're still gunning for you, and the only thing that you have to keep you safe other than winning challenges is this one idol right here. Why on earth?
Because if everyone is scared of Evie and challenges and being in the game, then if she's there, if she's gone, then who they come after next?
They're not scared of Evie. They're not scared of her. They wanted her gone because she's not in the majority alliance.
I think she's not trustworthy. I think that's really what it is. Too.
And speaking of her not being trustworthy, day 14 is the day that Sydney went home. Day 17 is when this is happening. 3 days ago, you just heard that Evie told Deshaun 9 days ago about your idol. Like, why would you be putting everything on the line?
I think that is the moment that sunk Evie's ship. Like, I really think that
Which is why you keep her in the game.
No!
Her and Deshaun can keep going at each other.
No!
If you're Xander,
she's already
you're
proven
Xander.
that. Like,
She's already proven you can't trust her.
he had a 30-minute conversation with Oh Boy and spilled her guts. Like,
you guys, I don't know how you can't.
First thing, I did call it the episode she gave the information to Deshaun. That
You're right. You're right.
So,
I'll give you that one, Robbie.
Second thing is, I think once again, it all comes down to numbers. Where if if Xander shows up there and he's 2 versus 5, right? When it comes to I know I keep coming to Luvu, and Luvu's not as strong as it once was, but in their minds, like this is only a few days in, and Luvu's been crushing them, right? So you have 5 Luvu sitting there. If Nasir was to stay, then I would save my idol because I'm going to be 1 versus 5. I'm screwed. I need it to survive. But if you go in there and all of a sudden you're 2 versus 4, it could be 2 versus 3 with an Uatu. You could easily, if you would have saved Evie, the Uatu. I get there's another alliance out there. But I'm just saying,
6-4.
It gives you options. All I'm saying,
going
it gives you options.
The final 10.
So
you had
I make the face
a group of 6 and then a group of 4.
Yeah,
I make the face though because it's like Liana. When you look, Liana is not like Yasa strong or anything. Like I wouldn't even think it's Luvu. I think it's Deshaun. I think it's Deshaun, Danny, Liana, and Ricard and Shan versus the rest of us.
Nasir was
and Nasir, versus the rest of us. Now Nasir's sitting over there, and we're like, I have no idea how Nasir got there, but these 3 are definitely coming for my neck, and I could try to take out one of them, but then they're really just going to stop me out the moment they get a chance to.
You know?
Yeah, we still don't have the numbers.
If you get rid of Danny, Deshaun, or Liana, it's still only 4-4 if, you know, Heather and Erica completely
once
cut
he gets to
their ties
tribal council, though, it's not because he got to see that Nasir was no longer in the game.
And that's what I'm saying.
No, okay.
Leading into it, I would agree.
So, but with Nasir, okay. So let's play this out real fast, right? There's 8 people left, right?
Now, yeah.
Because I see Nasir sitting there if I'm Xander.
Okay.
I know that I can beat Shan, Heather, and Erica in most challenges. I already got that in my mind.
Fair.
I know that Danny hasn't won anything, but he looks strong. So that's one thing. Deshaun, me and him went toe to toe, top toes just a minute ago, and I beat him heads up. So I could probably beat him again. Ricard's a tough beast. He's won an individual immunity. I have 2 shots to run this thing out, right? Because I can either win it out, and then the moment I lose, I have this idol I can play, which gives me 1 more shot to run this thing down.
Yeah.
So I would not have, if I'm Xander, if I run those numbers watching, especially with Nasir, because like you were saying, Nasir's a challenge beast, but he ain't in this game no more. So I'm the next challenge beast.
Though, I don't think winning it out is a strategy.
That's the only strategy he got. Because he's tried to work with them, and then Tiffany went home. He tried that.
He's at 8. He has to get to 4, assuming that it's Final 4 immunity. I mean, Final 4.
I think
he's at 7.
He's at 7 guaranteed. Out of the other side,
right, so he's at 7 with the idol, so he's only got to get through. He has to win 2 out of 3.
Yeah, no, sorry. What I'm saying is there's.
Yeah,
I'm saying there's 8
Nasir
left.
has the age advantage, and I mean, you know.
Yeah, you're right. He's guaranteed Final 7 at this moment.
Final 7 because he's either going to win immunity or he's going to use the idol, right?
Yeah.
Because Xander's intelligence is underrated too because of the tone of the voice and all that stuff. He's got the surfer dude vibe going or whatever. But the guy's smart. He hasn't used his idol.
He reminds me a lot of Derek X, right? I don't feel like he knows the game so well, but I feel like he's picking it up very quickly.
He has an extra vote too, doesn't he? Have an extra vote?
He has an extra vote as well. Yeah.
Right? So like, there's power there. Like he's got a lot of influence right now, and
not influence. He has a lot of ammo. He doesn't have a lot of influence because there's nobody's working with them.
Fair, but I guess I'm trying to read the tea leaves a little bit too because I don't think Liana is as tight with like I think if Shan and Liana are as tight as they are, and Shan and Ricard, one of those 3 is in trouble moving forward.
Ricard or Shan. Ricard or Shan.
And that could be
I mean, I feel
Liana's
like
in trouble. Because Danny and Deshaun don't want to turn on Liana.
I feel like the producers have tried to bury Liana at every single turn. Like anything Liana does wrong, like they've kind of given her a bit of a dodo at it. You know what I mean?
But I feel like they do that with a lot of women, though.
Well, yeah,
and especially women of color, and that's a different problem.
Liana this season has gotten that where. I mean,
they said we can't highlight 2 black women. We're gonna highlight Shan. So.
We went all in on this one.
I don't think CBS told her to go ask for an idol from Xander when she tried to steal it from him earlier. You can't edit that. That was just
wait, what do you mean? When she played the move or when she did it last night?
No, when she did it last night, was like, I'd feel better about this if you.
That's not. Of course, he's not going to give it to her, but you got to still try. Like,
yeah, but you know what? I think what we're seeing here is if you were to give people scores from 1 to 10, I think Liana would be like a solid 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the philosophy of the game. I wouldn't say it's like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Really close though when it comes to who's on the season.
Very strong.
Now. Very strong. Has a great chance of winning. More individual immunities coming up here. But when it comes to the strategic side, it's closer to like maybe a 3. At this point. And here's why.
Middle of the road.
Here's why. Here's the evidence. Okay, the evidence is she has this advantage that she lets people know about. One right there.
She didn't. Shan let people know.
Sure, but she still could have lied. She didn't lie. She told everybody what it was.
She told everybody. And
then she goes and tells everybody what it is. And then, even though knowing that they know you have the power. And then they show you they have an idol. And Xander's like, oh, I got an idol right here. He knows that you have this power. He knows you're coming at him. And yet you still believe that and you still use it. Anybody who ever watches these shows should know, listen, they know I'm coming at them. They're not going to show me a real idol, okay?
I feel like that's disrespectful.
That was
I feel like you're being disrespectful right now.
There was no way in the world you should be able to watch that and think that Xander... Did anybody here believe that was the real idol when Xander was doing that?
I did.
Then you're crazy. Like, there's no way, man. There's no way. And then to go and ask somebody for his idol after you tried to steal it.
I don't. Well, I thought that was clever, but I personally think you're being disrespectful because this advantage has never been used before. They've never seen this advantage be played before. I did not think she should have used it in that moment. Personally, I thought she should have waited until she thought Xander was really going to play it because I don't think she thought Xander was going to play it that night because he was safe. But I would have waited till I thought Xander was going to actually play it, and that night try to take it.
She bought the ploy that was.
I would have bought it too, man. It would have been sold to me the same way. I would have been the first one to sign up.
Until either Nasir or Xander used the idol. I would wait till one of them used it, then I'd use my power to steal the other one. That way, I had the only idol.
Yeah, but the whole point was they were trying to not save Evie, right? They were trying to make it so he couldn't save Evie, or so that Xander couldn't save Evie. But if I say, hi, I'm coming to tribal tonight and I'm going to steal your idol, and you have to have it in your possession, and then you come and say, hey everybody, and Xander does a big show, you have to ask, why is this guy doing this big show right now? Why is he doing this? It's to fool me. It's obvious. Like, he knows I'm coming to do this. He knows. It'd be like if I told everybody I had an idol nullifier. And then all of a sudden somebody at tribal was like, I'm definitely using it tonight. I'm definitely going to use this on myself. No matter what, I'm using it. You're like, okay, they're trying to get me to use my nullifier on them. And maybe you still use it. And if that was the case, and if Liana came forward and said, listen, I think you're screwing with me, but I got to take my shot anyway. Do you have an idol I can have? Like, even if she said that, where it's like, I think you're fooling me, but frig, I got to try. Is that an idol? Can I have it? And she's like, no, okay, well, I tried. But it wasn't. Like, she bought it. Hook, line,
she was genuinely shocked. She was genuinely shocked. Yeah. No, you're right. She was genuinely shocked when it didn't work. And I still put that a lot at Shan's feet because she had no interest in telling Tiffany about it. Hence the reason why she didn't tell Tiffany about it until Shan brought it up in front of Tiffany. But
Shan thought that she would be close with her tribe, kind of how Shan was.
Nah,
with her car.
I think Shan trusted Tiffany. She trusted Tiffany, and Tiffany was not trustworthy because Liana was like, "We're not telling her. We're not telling her." And then I think she should have lied. I'm with you. I think she should have lied about especially when Tiffany's like, "You had an extra vote too." I would have been like, "Yeah, yeah." We left it at that. But that's just me, right? That's just me. But I think the fact that she didn't tell Tiffany puts her at a solid 5 in your scale. Because she knew that it wasn't like she just went out and told everybody about her advantage. It got ratted on. And then she talked about it after it came out. But like that was Shan's blunder of bringing it up to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm still more intrigued at the fact that Frank thought that someone other than Evie was going home tonight.
Yeah. When he won that immunity, I thought, why not? Because it's a chance to disrupt the majority alliance and change up the numbers. And then you still have the extra vote. So even if you got 4, you got an extra vote. I'm swinging for the fences. I play to win, not to get voted out, just to get another day.
Swinging for the fences. Hypothetically, because we saw it with Shan's vote, with the extra vote, Shan got to use that extra vote in the revote.
Oh, I didn't.
No, it wasn't in the revote.
Yeah, she voted for Nasir according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, she
No,
got
she voted-
to.
So she got to revote twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why
Not revote,
Jeff
sorry,
read.
the second. She got the second vote twice.
Yes, which is
Okay.
why Jeff read 3 votes.
And that's right, because I was watching the show. I'm like, the math doesn't make
So,
sense right now.
Yeah, if Xander would have emptied his pockets last night, hypothetically speaking, if he would have played the idol on Evie, and then him and Evie would have put all 3 of their votes onto whoever, let's say Deshaun, and Danny, Deshaun, and Liana voted together, it would have gone to a revote. And then
It would have been a revote because the 3 of them would have voted for.
Okay, and then it would have still
No,
come out.
there wouldn't have been a revote.
Been
The 3 of them,
tie.
there wouldn't have been a revote. So the 3 of them would have put their votes on Evie, and then he plays the idol and protects Evie. So then their 3 votes are the only ones that play,
Yeah, well,
and then whoever
if-
they send goes home.
Well, if he doesn't even play the idol, if he just does
Right.
the extra vote, then they would have gone to a revote. It would have been a 2-2 tie.
We went to rocks.
Evie and say Deshaun would have been saying it
Damn.
would have gone to rocks between Liana
Damn.
and Danny.
Missed opportunity.
That
Interestingly-
how did we miss that?
And
That
then
was-
Interestingly,
you have
okay.
your idol next week.
So
That
let's
was
say
long- that
let's
was
play
the
that out
best.
though. Let's play that out. Xander plays his extra vote.
Yes.
Evie
Evie
can't
votes,
vote. Let's say they vote. They vote. If they vote Deshaun,
Yep.
then Danny and Leon. I think the only way it doesn't go to rocks is if they put those votes on Liana. I think Deshaun and Danny, when on the revote,
Yeah.
will just vote Liana out.
But who's more likely to work with Xander and Evie again? Liana or Danny?
Danny.
Liana, I think Liana would be more likely to, based on this episode. I think the previous episode, sure, but this one they're at least communicating.
But the previous episode was the day before. The previous episode was day 16,
Yeah,
and
no,
so
fair
this is
enough. I'm
day
saying
17.
Based on the content that we get.
Yeah,
But
so-
regardless, you could have gone to rocks, or been still saved Evie and had your idol,
Save Evie. Yeah, you're right. They could have saved Evie and got Liana out. Like that would have been.
and had his idol still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Danny or Deshaun, any of
God
them. You know,
damn.
they
No, or Deshaun and Danny, you go to rock. There's going to be a rock
pace.
draw.
That's the pace of the
But-
game. If he would have had 3 days to think about it and sat down with
Yes.
stones and played it out on the beach with shells
Yes.
and whatever, that would have been in the bag. They would have done it 100 times over.
But
Yeah.
literally, it was. As I'm looking here, a 12-hour. You had 8 hours to figure this out because you play the challenge. You then go and eat. After you guys eat, you then have to talk about the vote for, I guess, like 5 hours, 6 hours, and that's all you got, right? I mean, so you're right. Like you have 6 hours to figure. There's no way he's getting to that point. Well, hell, we had 24 hours, and Kylie just played it out, and the two of you just look like you just.
Oh,
Finishing
yeah,
your
I didn't even
pants.
think of it. I forgot, he even had it.
That's-
I forgot he even had the extra vote.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, he's got that too, right? And it's because, you know what, so far, really, in Survivor, you haven't really seen the extra vote matter much. Do you know what I
Correct.
mean? You haven't seen it matter much.
but
And
did y'all know that this is the very first
oh,
time?
you're gonna bring this
an
up, aren't
extra
you?
vote-
Yeah. Go ahead.
The very first time, what?
The first time an extra vote has ever been used to get out the target.
Oh, this
Robbie,
was?
care to elaborate?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This is the first time, you know, Peridium posted on Twitter today, and I'm sure he's going to make a beautiful video about it, as he does. No shots at Peridium, the guy's a legend, but the guy is posting that it's the first time in Survivor history that an extra vote has been used successfully to get out the target. And all I said was, Shan could have just put her single vote and it would have worked, right? Like the fact that the idol wasn't played and nothing else happened and whatever, a single vote would have done it. So it's no different than using an idol for insurance and not getting the votes against you anyway. The woulda, coulda, shouldas don't matter. She could have used
Right.
one vote and still done it. But yes, technically, because she wrote
We're
the
going to put an
Nasir vote.
asterisk next to that extra
She wrote the
vote.
Nasir vote. Here's the thing: the reason why Peridium's right, she technically wrote the Nasir vote on the parchment that was the extra vote, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. He's congratulations. You get your
Technically
point.
speaking.
I think that's super cool that you get to recast your extra vote in a revote. That's not
Yeah.
been a thing in the past, has it?
I don't.
It probably has, and we didn't know it. And I need to direct some org people to this because I played an extra vote incorrectly in an org and I would have been able to revote with this extra vote, and I would have been able to fix it. So now I know. So I'm gonna go ahead and have them look at this here.
It either manipulates the math of the vote or it doesn't, right?
Right.
And if you're trying to put an advantage in, call it whatever you want, where you get to manipulate the math of the vote, then that needs to be a consistent power for that vote. So I agree. Or else the advantage is like a half advantage, right? Like it'd be like if you had immunity, you won individual immunity, but if it was a tie, you lose it. And then now you're eligible to get voted out. It's a half advantage. It's only good for one attempt at votes.
Right.
Yeah, but we had Evie go home at the end of that tribal. How did you guys feel about Evie's game? What was your favorite? What did you love about the game? Where did you think she could have critiqued her game a little bit?
I feel like
Evie, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Robbie. Go ahead.
I think Evie was amazing television. I think from the marooning, from them standing on the boat to not being able to find their pieces, all the way through to finding who had what advantages, selling that information out as fast as possible, building people's paranoias, building alliances with everybody. Amazing television. Evie took their shot at everything. Anything that you would like to see on television, Evie tried to do. And even when the chickens came home to roost, or whatever you want to call it, and people started calling Evie out on what they were doing, still played it for the show, did the proper thing, owned up to it, tried to make the alliances, begged for idols to be played. Like great TV. Played a little too hard for this season, I think. Mm-hmm. But you know what? If it was a longer season, I don't think the pace of that gameplay was too hard. I just think this was the first time that I'd say too much, too quick. People are just looking for loyalty in this fast season. But I loved watching Evie.
I feel like Evie was a fantastic game player, and I am excited for when they come back and play again, because the gameplay here was great. I think if Evie tries to team up with someone that's not Deshawn, I think that there's many people, as I look here at the list, that would not have called out Evie at that tribal council, and unfortunately they tried to play with Deshawn, and it just burned them. Like Robbie said a few weeks ago, it just burned them. But I think the strategy was there. Even when they were down in the numbers, Evie did what they had to do. Going all the way back to the Abraham vote, right? Deciding to go with Tiffany from the jump, playing both sides, getting Xander and Voce to still think that they were with them, and then rallying together and winning some tribals, some challenges, and rolling into the merge. Like it was still good. There was no way though she knew that Liana was going to immediately click with the other black players and just flip on her, because that's where it ended up being bad. But I thought Evie was a fantastic game player.
And I think obviously Evie's shining moment was last episode, where she completely just dominates this puzzle. And in her exit press, she says that Jeff did say that they are going to now retire that puzzle. Like, Evie broke it. And I think that's, like a badass thing to, be able to tell people, like, I broke Survivor. I completely I knew what was coming and I just killed it. And then, getting to see her win the individual immunity. I think once again, we lost two people last night that really wanted to play Survivor. And so with them being two of the bigger characters, I would have not liked to have seen them both go out in the same episode. Each of them have had their own opportunity to get, the whole shebang. But it's how the cookie crumbles.
And seeing how the twist played out, where it was a 5-person tribal, and it kind of twist screwed again, right? Where the numbers just weren't there. It wasn't a 10-person tribal.
Isn't a twist screwed if they've done it 3 times?
Well, no, but this is what I'm saying. In this season, this isn't how people are prepared for it, right? They're not thinking, okay, you make merge, you're going to a 5. You're at final 5 tribal pretty much.
Yeah, those happened 3 times. This is the 3rd time.
3 times after merge already. Do you know what I mean? And the math just isn't there at that point. You weren't building the relationships for 4 people being eligible, right?
They did this. They did this in Ghost Island. They did this again in Edge of Extinction.
That's fine.
And then they did it now. So that's fair. You can see it coming.
No, okay. What I'm getting at,
a different arrangement of people, maybe Abby doesn't go home.
Correct.
And so,
for
that's
sure.
important
none of that has anything to do with the point I'm trying to make. Okay, give me 30 seconds here.
sorry.
What I'm saying is we didn't know the twist was coming when it happened.
Right.
But Evie, originally I said, horrible move by dominating the puzzle that Evie knew and just showing everybody the intelligence and the skill and the practice. I thought it was a horrible move because you put a target on your back. Knowing now that twist happened, that tribal was going to happen, Evie was screwed if Xander didn't
no matter what.
idol anyway.
No matter what.
I'm really happy that Evie had that survivor moment. That's a survivor moment that will be in highlight reels. It'll be that'll be one of the moments of the season.
They're going to show that and Spencer breaking the game.
As a fan of the show who obviously wanted to be on there, really cared about the experience and what it meant for themselves. I was happy that Evie got that moment in retrospect. At the time, I thought it was stupid, but in retrospect, I'm really happy it happened because that's a memory forever now, right? Like dominated and all that effort you put in at home for the years that they were practicing paid off on the show. It worked. And there's the moral victory. So I'm happy.
That's what I personally liked about her game. Coming into the season, was not a fan. The stuff she was saying before the game, I was like, I don't think she's going to be able to get in there and work with any guy whatsoever.
Yeah.
She surprised me. She really came in the game strong, was able to control the narrative on her tribe. And what I really appreciate is that she was a student of the game. I appreciate that a lot. If you're going to go out on these things, I think you should be watching past seasons, pausing it, looking at the puzzles. If there's something you can recreate in your house or your backyard, I think you should be doing it. And if you're not, then I think you're going to show up to these future seasons a little behind in the game, because I think that's the direction they might be going with casting, is more people that have the passion for the show. Where I think her opportunity was, I think she doesn't know how to pick good allies. I don't think she picked one good ally. I think the people that she could have aligned with that maybe would have had her back when their backs were against the wall would have been David and Xander. If she would have kept that trio together, they might have stuck together a little tighter when their backs were against the wall at merge. For sure. Because Tiffany was not stable, and Liana jumped off the first chance
she sent Voce home day 5, though. Like,
what other options did she have?
Which way to go? I mean, Evie was the swing vote. Like, she had the choice of going with Liana and Tiffany or Voce and Xander. And then
you also don't have Danny on high alert of an all-girls alliance, because that also hurt her big time.
That's true. Danny's
that from the other
you can't
side.
Undersell Danny's motivation to start getting the women out, because he said it out loud.
He said it, but there's no way that Evie. She's not clairvoyant, right? She doesn't know that. She's never met Danny before, so she doesn't know that Danny, because Deshaun's there, right? Deshaun doesn't have the same sentiment. Ricard doesn't have the same sentiment. There's no way Danny is going to be feeling like there's too many ladies here. We got to send them home.
Well, that's
fair.
Knows
about
that's
the Black
fair,
Widow Brigade, though, and you know that. Yeah. I mean, as a fan of Survivor who knows strategy, I'm scared of any group of anybody. Yeah. A group of anybody that looks the same or acts the same or from the same demographic. Like, it's scary. So I thought that's easy to tell.
For 40 seasons, there's been groups of the same demographic, white people, all the time. All the time. Why are you trying?
I would, and if I was not a white person, I would be scared of that. If there's a group of guys,
exactly.
I'm all about it because I'm a guy. If it's a group of girls, I'm scared.
Yeah, no, I listen. I know this is. I feel like you're insinuating an argument that's outside of what Frank is saying. But
no, what I'm saying.
But here's the thing: if Yasa would have went to one more tribal, and Xander wasn't immune, then they would have merged with Tiffany, Liana, and Evie. And do you not think that's a message there? That's a message.
The overblown women's alliance has been something that's haunted the women. That has haunted women that have played this game since, I guess, Micronesia. It has haunted women.
That's irrelevant when you're Danny in this game and you're watching. You go to the challenge and you see who's coming in, and you see day after day one fewer person that looks like you when it comes to a physicality perspective,
Yeah.
you notice that no matter what demographic you're talking about, if it's an athlete,
I'm talking
gender, if it's one fewer person that looks like you in any way, you're going to start noticing it. And Danny's like, holy shit, all the big guys, you got Voce's gone, you got Abraham's gone, like they're disappearing.
But Xander's in this thing more because it's when you see a tribe voting out the big physical strengths, and that's kind of setting your tribe back in Survivor in the early stages. So when you see a tribe choosing that to kick that out, and you see all women staying, your first thing is that's a solid group of women working together because they're voting out the strong person. You don't see that, I think, as much. You don't see a group of guys in fear of that because that's the normal is to vote
that being
off
said,
the old
though,
lady.
Frank,
like, because that's the norm, and that's what people are doing on the tribe.
No, but I think I think you're saying the exact same thing if it was three little nerdy dudes that were like 110-pound gamers, like professional online gamers.
Yeah.
And then three giant athletes, and one by one the giant athletes were going away, and the three little nerdy dudes came over, and you were a giant athlete. You'd be thinking the same thing. Holy shit, all the giant athletes are getting picked off. I better go against that little group of nerdy gamers, right? And I kind of consider myself part of that group for a large portion of my life, so I feel it's okay to say that. But the nerdy gamers team, but you know, I that's what I think. That's what I think Danny was saying, and so I think it's a valid point where if one of the mistakes was not considering what the optics were to the people on the other tribe that you now have to work with because you're outnumbered.
And because, I mean, she only had 5 other people on her tribe. The people that she got to the merge with weren't really that close to her. So, I mean, the only other option would be the 2 or 3, the 2 people that she got rid of. Those would be the only other people she had a chance to go to merge with.
It's been Luvu the whole season. Even like Danny and Deshaun haven't worn a color but blue. Even in these random rock draws, I don't know if you've noticed
they're still wearing blue.
Every single episode, every team they've been on, it's been blue, 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 blue the whole fucking time. Every time. Blue.
What do you guys think is going to happen next week? Do you think we're going to have a traditional one person going home, or are we going to see another mix-up?
I think one person goes home.
I think one person from here on out. I mean, we're down to small numbers now.
Who do you guys see going home next?
I think Erica or Heather.
I think it's Liana.
Reasons?
I definitely don't think it's Heather. Just blanket statement, because why wouldn't you bring Heather to the end, or at least to final 5 and then knock her out, or final 4 and knock her out, beat her in whatever the challenge is. At that point, I
think Erica. I think probably Erica.
I think Shan. I know Shan's a huge character on the season. I feel like we need one more episode to really pump up somebody else, and then Shan's gonna go. So I might say Liana. I'm gonna say Liana. I think Liana's a support network for Shan, and I think that might bite her.
Yeah, I think it's a shot at Shan by way of Liana. Frank?
I want to say Liana too.
I hope it's not, though, because I love watching Liana's games.
I don't think that. I think that I think we saw part of it in the next time on Survivor. I think we saw.
We didn't get that in Canada, by the way. Thank you,
really?
Global Television.
But yeah, so we saw some shots fired at Ricard, and I think Ricard is going to retaliate, and I don't think he'd go at Liana, because I think he knows that that'd be a hard sell to Sean. So I think we might see Deshaun, or they might fake Deshaun and actually send Danny home.
Nobody's coming for Danny.
I don't.
Everybody
think
likes
for
Danny.
I think they would put votes on Danny if they don't want to show people where they're really wanting to go, or they're like scared that person might get an idol played on them or have some type of advantage. They might be like, let's just vote Danny because he's likable, he can win individual immunity, and he's not my number 1. So
the 2 idols are out there, and it could be anybody. So you don't even need the majority right now. You just need to know where the votes are going.
I think Xander plays his on himself. I think Sean could actually, if she's not happy with the plan she's hearing.
He always calls her Sean.
Yeah, I always do that. But if she does that and she's like, I don't like that play, she could just throw her idol on there and send anyone else home. I don't know.
I think it's
It'll be
Erica.
interesting.
I really think it's Erica.
So I started this. I lost a person in my 4-person pool, a fantasy pool, on the first episode. And when oh my gosh, Sarah, right? Yeah, Jesus, so long ago. Sarah went home. I lost one, but I've got Deshaun, Ricard, and Erica left, and I'm hoping it's not Erica. I got 3 of the final 8. I'm
just
feeling
lost
more comfortable. So
You lost in the seer.
I hope it's not Erica.
So in the one that we did with the
I got no one left in that, I think.
you have Ricard, I believe.
I'm riding
And
out with Danny.
Kylie has Danny. Trisha has Shan. And I got 4 people, baby. I'm still here. I got Deshaun. I got Erica. I got Xander. I've got, who else do I got? I got one more. Liana. I got Liana too.
What round did you get Xander? Wasn't he
Last.
in your last? Yeah.
You're the last pick. I took Erica, then Deshaun, then Liana, then Xander.
That's a
Crushing
solid
it.
team. I think I
Crushing
even
it.
said that you had, like, yeah.
Crushing it.
That's
with the money
that's a great
one,
team.
I still have Shan, Erica, and who was my 4th? Do you remember who my 4th was?
Brad.
I got
Brad.
Brad was not on my. I did not.
You picked Ricard and everything, right? Didn't you pick Ricard everywhere?
Ricard's on everything, everywhere. Even on my, we do a draft board where you have like $10 to bid, and you can bid all 10 on one person when they're up on.
So are you saying you have 4 people left in the money pool? All 4.
3 in the money pool.
Okay.
And then Ricard in everything that I
Gotcha.
gamble on. The only money I've lost so far was that Brad would make merge, and that hurt bad. That was
You gotta own that
$100.
one.
Ooh.
Yeah, that hurt really bad. But do you guys have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, man. Take a listen to the Top 5 Go podcast. You can find that on all places that podcasts are. Also, take a listen to the DCOM After Dark podcast, where we talk about Disney Channel original movies. We are preparing to do one on a movie called 'Twas the Night. Santa Claus is not Santa Claus for like a day, and some other people have to deliver the gifts. It's a nice DCOM Disney Channel original movie. Take a listen to that. That should be out in early December.
Awesome.
All right. We have Game Night Gauntlet, our first ever original mini. Hopefully, it will only last 3 hours. It was designed to fit within a normal stand, because everyone says 3-hour mini and then it turns into a 6 to 12-hour mini. This has been designed to be done in 3 hours, but we'll see how long it takes. It should be fun. 10 players. First place is going to take home 40, second place 10. It's going to have games that we play in game night with a few other things, and then some social rounds and some twists. But
I've never
Robbie
played a
and
mini.
Kevin will be
I'll be
playing
there.
in that. So
Never played a
hopefully
mini in
one
my
of them can
life.
bring home the win. Never?
Neither have I.
No minis I've never played. So this is gonna be interesting. I've only played. Oh, for me, I've really never played. I've only played long form games.
This is nothing like it. This is nothing like any of that. This is going to be absolute mayhem and fun. I can't wait for it.
This is
I just
like
hope
nothing anyone's ever seen, I don't think. Well,
no, it's
kind
gonna
of.
be crazy. I think it's gonna be a blast.
Keep you on your toes. And then we'll be back next week with
No, we will
another
not.
Survivor. No, we won't. We're going to take next week off.
It's
All
Thanksgiving,
enjoy-
man.
Yeah.
Gobble gobble. Here are the states. Sorry, Robbie. I don't think
Maybe the
you.
Canadian. I'll come and do a solo podcast. I'm not running the show by myself. Yeah. Frank's like, what? Thanksgiving's not the same day? No, it's not the same day in Canada. Okay, Frank.
Well, I forget about Thanksgiving because it's not really a big holiday here. My wife's Native American, so.
I feel it. I feel it.
Gotcha.
Nah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
The perception a little bit there.
I get it.
Took me a while.
F Thanksgiving.
To call that the right-
F Thanksgiving.
My mom is adorable. She used to have all like the turkeys and little pilgrim figurines and stuff, and she got rid of all the pilgrims. It's only turkeys up now. So
I love it. I love it.
Yep. But thank you guys for joining us tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks to pick things back up. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for joining us.